And I'm not so much worried about me. I'm worried about people who don't have health insurance. Just like Buddy and the union have worked so hard to make sure that people had a decent minimum wage. It didn't affect them. Making sure that people had decent health insurance. Those are the people that I worry about. I worry about the children who do everything their parents tell them to do. Avoid negative peer pressure. Work hard in school. Good kids, and then they get to the college door and somebody says, we don't have tuition for you, you can't go. And then they're deprived of an education, deprived of the gifts that God has given them, and they cannot deliver the gifts. And you may look at me and say, why do you have something, why are you getting all excited? I get excited because that's me. That's me, a little guy whose mom and daddy were former sharecroppers. Trying to make it. Trying to raise 7 children so that they could be all that they could be. But if somebody had said to me when I got to Howard University's door, you cannot have a scholarship, you will not have Pell Grants, which is, by the way, what Romney and his buddy is saying, then I would not be a congressman today. Ladies and gentlemen, I worry about our children. Our children, it is their turn. We had our turn. It is their turn to be all that God meant for them to be. And I think it's sad if a society cannot lift up its children and give them what they need. We're better than that. We're better than that. A gentleman asked me the other day, don't you feel ashamed that you voted for the Affordable Care Act? I said, no. I said, if your mother was ill, and she could not get well, do you want me to leave her on the sidelines of life to die? No, I said, if that's the guy you want representing you, somebody that would leave her to die, then you need to vote for the other fellow. That's not me. We're better than that. And those are the things that we're fighting for. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we get so caught up in who we're fighting against that we forget what we're fighting for. What we're fighting for. And so, my first point is that we must protect our progress. We must protect the progress that we made with regard to Dodd-Frank, making sure that we don't have the financial collapse that we are still suffering from. Everybody in this room knows somebody who is still suffering from the financial situation that we've found ourselves in over the last few years. Everybody in this room knows somebody who's lost their house. Everybody knows somebody who's lost part of their financial portfolio. Everybody knows somebody who's lost their job. Everybody knows somebody. And some of you all may have suffered yourselves. And now we try to remedy that, Cummings, and we put laws into effect to protect the citizens of our country. And the first thing that Romney says is when he gets into office, he wants to get rid of it. Not only do they want to defeat this president, but they want to destroy everything he did. But we will not let that happen. Not under our watch. No, not under our watch. And so, as I close, we've got to protect our progress. And let me say something else. Everybody in this room should be upset and livid with the thought that anybody would suppress anybody's right to vote. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green. I want every single person who is eligible to vote. Because when we start taking away people's right to vote, we are basically cutting down the foundation of our democracy. That's right. Not under our watch. We cannot let that happen under our watch. I don't want people to look back 100 years from now and say, well, when Elijah and them was around, and Venezuela was around, they let our democracy slip. And so that our children and their children won't have the that we have. We have a duty. We have a duty. It is our watch. We have a duty to make this world a better world. Not to leave it the same, but to make it even better than the world that we found when we came upon this earth. We had to protect our environment. We had to protect our democracy. We had to protect the opportunities that our children have to get an education. We have to make sure that we protect our rights. That's our job. And so, we must protect our progress, and we must remember this is bigger than us. And as I take my seat, last week, I had an opportunity to visit a friend of mine who gave me my first job as a lawyer. And Ted, it was a tough visit. The secretary called me and told me he was dying. I had never visited anybody who was dying. I'd never sat beside anybody's bedside who was dying. So I had to call my pastor before I went because I needed to know how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the idea that you're going to be sitting with somebody who you will never see again? And I'll never forget, he told me, he said, first of all, be there. Turn off your cell phone and be present. He said, number two, make sure that when you see them, no matter how bad they look, make sure you don't have any expression on your face that, would be like surprise. And so I went in there with my best face. And he said, but most important, oh God, he said, but most important, tell them about what they meant to you. So I went and I sat down, buddy, and I began to talk. And I told this wonderful lawyer about what he had done for me. And how he had given me a job when I knew that there were 6 other people who were smarter than me, who had much better credentials than I did. And I said, I thank you for giving me an opportunity. And as I left, I got to the door, and he called me back. And he stumbled up, and he got on his chair, and he had a cane, and he let his cane drop, and he grabbed my face. And he was so shaken because the chemotherapy had made him have tremors. And he held my face, Dutch, and he said, every time I see you on television, I'm so glad that I was a part of your destiny. That I was a part of your destiny. And then he sat down. Ladies and gentlemen, it is you, and you who have to understand this is bigger than us. This is not about us. This is bigger than us. This is about generations yet unborn. We could not allow a Romney and a Ryan to come in and turn back the hands of a clock and go back 100 years to take away the things that we have worked so hard for. Look around this room. Look around the room. Our diversity is our promise. It is not our problem. It is our promise. And the reason why I cite the story of my friend is because you, because of the policies of this Democratic Party, and because of the things that you care about, and because you get up every day determined to make the world not so much better for you, but for other people and for other people's children, and wanting other people's children to have the same kind of opportunities that you would want for your own children, and to make sure that our elderly are taken care of, and so that when they get old, they don't have to worry so much about being able to take care of themselves and get the medical care that they need. You made that happen. And people like you made that happen. And people like you made it possible for me to be who I am. That's why I started off by saying, thank you for letting me be myself again.